Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we have another health news article debunked. This article is one that I found on New York Post, but it looks like it was actually published by Page Six. Quote, Celine Dion makes surprise appearance at Grammys 2024 as she battles stiff person syndrome. I thought this was kind of wild and worth talking about. Even though I'm not a fan of celebrity gossip, I don't really, follow celebrities. I actually didn't know about this. I think at some point here she had some kind of health issues, but I had not heard of stiff person syndrome before. So I wanted to investigate myself. Now, I did find out it makes sense why I've never heard of stiff person syndrome. It apparently only affects, at this point, one or maybe two people in a million, so it's pretty rare. Celine Dion is 55 years old also, I just want to know, and she was apparently diagnosed back in December of 2022 with this condition. So what is stiff person syndrome? Like I said, I had not heard of it before, so I had to leave the article behind and go off and do some research. So stiff person syndrome is a chronic condition with stiffness and painful muscle spasms. There's no cure, and it can cause things like difficulty walking, falls, all kind of issues, but overall it sounds like a lot of pain. So I did hop on over to the Cleveland Clinic website, and they did tell us that there are 3 types of stiff person syndrome, which apparently used to be called stiff man syndrome, but they want to be more inclusive, and so they changed the name to stiff person syndrome. So there's, first of all, one classic stiff person syndrome associated with GAD antibodies, as well as other antibodies too. And I thought this was really interesting because if y'all remember, I did a video recently on some SIDS deaths that they had found video footage, like crib monitor footage, and found that those babies that had, actually, I think they were over 1 year old. So they were maybe like, I think they're called sudden death in childhood. And they had seizure-like activity prior to death in several of these cases. I thought that was really, interesting, alarming, and I did some more research into it and found out about some of the issues behind the physiological issues behind seizures. We have an issue with glutamate converting to GABA, so excitatory neurotransmitter that is supposed to be changed into GABA, an inhibitory neurotransmitter, using this enzyme GAD. And it's also, those imbalances are associated with a lot of other things like autism, I think ADHD, and then strikingly, very interesting, these GAD antibodies are elevated in people with type 1 diabetes. So if you didn't watch that video, you can get a full breakdown. I'm going to link it in the description, and explains it so much better in better detail. But I thought that was interesting because here we are with another autoimmune neurological disorder, and GAD is again in the mix. Glutamate to GABA conversion again in the mix. Okay, so the second type, we have an stiff person syndrome variant. This one has ataxia, and it mostly just affects like certain body parts. And then there's this most serious, it sounds like, progressive encephalomyelitis, rigidity, and myoclonus. This is called PERM, and it can affect everything from eye movements to level of consciousness and causes autonomic dysfunction. These people often need hospitalization, so that's pretty serious. But that would be the kind of the different categories of this stiff person syndrome. So it wouldn't be Cleveland Clinic if they didn't use some fun 2023 terminology. So they did let us know that this is most common in women, and AFAB, which apparently is assigned female at birth people. And of course, that those things always sow a little discomfort in me, because if we're just trying to be really science-y here, you would think it just, gender is biological, physiological. You wouldn't think we need to talk about that, all of the other aspects so much or add social messaging, but this is how they work over on Cleveland Clinic website. They said those groups of people, women and people who were born female, have 2 times more likely risk, and they typically develop this in their 30s to 40s. Strangely, or not strangely, unsurprisingly, I would say, it is actually associated with type 1 diabetes for the reason I mentioned above, shares an autoantibody profile, thyroid autoimmune issue, vitiligo. Vitiligo is the skin disorder. I believe that's a melanocyte autoimmune issue, where there's like different colorations, pernicious anemia, celiac disease. So it's basically going to overlap with other autoimmune issues. So they said that this is autoimmune, but they don't know the exact cause. They always like to say that. We don't know what causes this, but they do want you to know, because I looked up and I saw several articles that reassure you that it was not the CV shot that caused this for Celine Dion. Just Google it. You'll see so many articles and you'll feel very reassured by how adamant these articles are and how they lack some detail. Like, I was trying to figure out, did she even get the shot? How many shots? When did she get the shots? I really couldn't figure it out, even from her Instagram. I tried to hop on over there and see. It looks like the first time she had posted canceling or changing show dates was October 19, 2021 due to, and they had said, the painful muscle spasms at that point. But looking through her feed, I couldn't see anything that said, she had gotten, a Pfizer or Moderna or any of these shots within a certain amount of time prior. I couldn't figure it out. I don't know if she had talked about this, but it was in stories, and that's how people knew that she had this and wanted to link it. I don't know. If you know, please let us know in the comments, because I would like more information. None of the news articles, like I said, gave me enough information to feel as confident as they expect me to feel after reading that there's no association, although the website also says they don't know, the Cleveland Clinic website, I believe, also says they don't know the exact cause. All right, so what are the treatments for this? Treatments are usually things like benzodiazepines, muscle relaxers, and it sounds like pain management. So again, they don't really know. They're going to try to treat the symptoms. That's how allopathic medicine works. They're not really going to try to help your body regain normal physiological processes, not really going to help your body to work the way it's supposed to. They're just going to kind of like mask your symptoms and tell you they don't know and send you along about your day, recommending things like PT, massage, heat and water therapy, and acupuncture. Something I did find interesting is that they will use IVIG, which is a powerful therapy that they use for autoimmune related things to basically kind of like reduce the immune response. And I'm not sure if that's just like in the setting of perm or when all they would use that, but IVIG is very expensive and it's a pretty serious intervention. I don't think it would be available to everyone. Typically that's going to be like in the hospital. All right, so on their website too, can I prevent stiff person syndrome? And this was their answer. Stiff person syndrome is an autoimmune related condition. There's nothing you can do to prevent developing it. So they just want you to know, if this is going to happen to you, it's just going to happen to you. You're going to have to get some benzodiazepines. You're going to have to get some muscle relaxers, and they're going to tell you they don't know why this destruction of your GAD, the cells that create the GAD enzymes, that you would have this like autoantibody basically against that. They're not, that's it. This is it for you. It could just happen to anyone, and you just have to accept it basically. And that's all they know. But it was not. And I think I saw in another place where they said, it's not caused by the COVID shot or any other, basically this goes for other vaccines too. So I thought that was interesting. So they want you to know that those are not the cause, of course. But here's what I'm going to say. Here's what we have: a constellation of different issues. We have type 1 diabetes, autoimmune thyroid issues, celiac disease. And those, again, they're all autoimmune related, and they're related to this stiff person syndrome. The stiff person syndrome is related to the destruction, the antibodies against GAD, against this enzyme. And actually, I need to clarify, I'm not 100% sure if it's antibodies against the cells or the enzyme, like destroying the enzyme itself once it's created. I think I will have to look into that further to make a clear distinction there. As I'm speaking through it, I realized that that was a little bit unclear. But either way, the problem that develops is we have glutamate and it's not being able to be converted to GABA. So here is what I'm going to tell you all. Your body, and modern medicine doesn't believe this at all. And when I went to school, they didn't teach me this. When I was raised as a child, they didn't teach me this. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Your body, and this is going to sound very religious, obviously, but your body is beautifully and wonderfully made. You have an immune system, you have cells, you have enzymes, you have all the things that your body needs to come in contact with germs, to come in contact with light toxins, the kind that exist in the real environment, that to come in contact with other human beings, animals, basically everything. Food, it has the ability to take the food in, process it, do what it needs to do, expel it out, use the other parts to feed your neurological processes, to feed your enzymatic processes, to basically keep you alive. And this is the way your body's designed. The biggest thing you can ever do for yourself is always going to be very simple. You want to give your body what it wants and what it needs. So what it needs is proper nutrients, and that isn't just like it is protein, carbs, fats. Those are important. Those are macronutrients. You need all of them basically to be a healthy person with a balanced, good metabolism. Number two, you're going to need nutrients like vitamins. You need vitamins and minerals because those are so important. They make very important cofactors. They're important for every process in your body. They're important to convert neurotransmitters to other neurotransmitters, to develop neurotransmitters. Protein and different amino acids. You need the whole profile of those, especially the essential amino acids. And so we have nutrition, super important. Exercise, so you're going to need to move. Your body's designed to move. It's designed to have, fluctuation in your heart rate, fluctuation in your breathing. It's designed for your body to not be like in one position. I shouldn't be sitting all day. I need to be moving around, stretching my muscles, utilizing my body, and those things are going to make it as healthy as possible. I need clean water. I need sunshine because, as we've talked about so many times, vitamin D comes from the sunshine. If you are a person who is super sick and they keep you inside all day, you are only going to get sicker. You need to be getting sunlight enough to synthesize your own vitamin D. And other things that you need: stress reduction. We don't want to be in that mode where we're like just surging cortisol all the time. That causes a lot of issues in the body, primes your body to be a lot more, overreactive to things, irritated. You want proper sleep. That's so important. You need to balance the melatonin, balance that with the cortisol surge in the morning. And you need relationships. You need happiness. You need all of those things. And if you don't have a really balanced body, and you're not taking in the proper nutrients, living a good lifestyle, you're going to have a lot of problems. Now, throw on top of that what we do here in America, and you have, let's eat a bunch of garbage. So let's put in some toxins, whether it's food or medication. Maybe we'll inject some toxins, and I'm not even just talking about like drugs, people that do drugs, but let's say they're medications that are being injected to you, or they're preventative products like vaccines that are going to overstimulate your immune system. Now we have a whole other area where we have things that we need to, adjuvants that we need to detox, or medications that are affecting how well our liver and kidneys work, or just different toxins we have to process that take a lot out of our body. It takes our body's nutrients and our body's workload is going to be like sent over to like detoxification when it could be helping you thrive better. And, the ones that stimulate your immune system, the issue there between whether it's foods that overstimulate your immune system because they're like sprayed in glyphosate, or they are, vaccines, things like that. You need to realize that those can prime your immune system against things that you wouldn't want them to be primed against, and we can end up with autoimmune issues there. So it's important to try to live a healthy lifestyle and to live in harmony with the earth and eat as natural as possible, move as natural as possible, and just really respect your God-given body. That would be my advice there. And for someone like Celine Dion, it's so unfortunate that she already has this issue. But if I had to say, what I tell people who already have an issue is that you need to maximize nutrition. You are going to want to reduce excess toxins, and you're going to want to do all these things to help give your body what it needs to repair. Because in reality, and I've talked about this a million times, even if you go to a surgeon and they cut out an organ from you and they're like, look, I saved you. The real thing that always has to happen, they can sew your intestines back together, but at the end of the day, you will not make it if your body doesn't actually heal that wound. If it doesn't, it has to do that. Modern medicine can't do that for you. It can't heal your processes for you. So your body needs to be given what it needs and the proper conditions to actually perform healing. And that means, like I said, balancing your immune system so it's not constantly attacking itself over things, giving it the nutrients it needs, giving it proper conditions, sleep, rest, movement, all of that. So I hope you all like this video. Pretty interesting. Best of luck to Celine Dion. It sounds like an awful disorder. I really hope and pray that it doesn't become more prevalent over time, because as we've seen with basically all these autoimmune issues that are suddenly just, skyrocketing in numbers, they typically start to pop up, and then all of a sudden the numbers go up and up and up, basically astronomically. Well, the medical community says, we don't know what caused this. So again, I want you all to think really, really long and hard about how you treat your body. Do as best as possible as you can for it. Give it the things it needs, nutrients, foods, all of that. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please go ahead and hit like, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm going to talk about different health articles on this page, and I also like to do some notable figures and kind of their more holistic health journeys too. I had a recent video about Theo Vaughn, and I did one about Andy Frisella, both getting off SSRIs, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you have any articles or people that you would like me to cover, also please send me a DM over on Instagram or Twitter. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will be back with more health news soon.